In this video, we're going to see how we can able to make a call to an Apex method from Flow. This is an extension to the previous video where we create an Apex method and then we called from the Flow, isn't it? But what we did not cover in the previous video, how do we handle multiple input parameters and multiple output parameters? Because we know that if you did not watch the previous video, the link is there in the description. Just have a look at the previous video so that you will know the use case that we are trying to solve and other factors that you should be aware of before you make a call, before you start creating an Apex method that can be consumed from Flow. So I'll just quickly recap the key considerations again. So whichever the Apex method that you wanted to expose it to the Flow for consumption, right? So it has to be annotated with @invocable method number one. So when I do that, I can able to use this label attribute. I can define the display name, which I can use it in the flow to look for the Apex method. And then these are most important things. A flow can take or Apex method can take only one input parameter and it has to be of data type list. And also Apex method can return only or should return only one output value, and again it should be of type list. Yeah. So these are the limitations or constraints. Okay, we have to consider and then accordingly write our Apex code. Yeah. So now the scenario is um, yeah. So we have this nice screen flow that is currently showing the customer rating. Okay, the overall rating for a particular hotel. So this is a hotel, and these are the hotel reviews, given by the customers. So what we are just looking at on the screen, is the overall customer rating, an aggregated or a average, customer rating based on different customer reviews. Now, along with this, I wanted to calculate the total reviews as well. So now I want this to be done using Apex, okay, using aggregate functions, so SQL query and all the calculations. Then send the data, both the rating and the total number of customer reviews back to the screen flow, so the screen flow can show both the information on the screen. Okay, so now how do we do it? So if I go back now to my developer console, yeah. So this is the method that I'm planning to create. Yeah. So this is the core logic. So as per the core logic, I'm just going to use an aggregate function, so which will calculate the average customer rating, which will always also calculate the total reviews count. Fine. For a given account ID, but I'm using in condition and then account ID set. Why? Because I know that my method, my Apex method, will will take only one parameter, and also it should be of type list, isn't it? So it has to be a list of IDs, isn't it? List of IDs, and then I can just say account IDs, right? But but now we wanted to see how we can able to handle multiple input parameters if there are any. Yeah. And so before we go there, okay, the core logic, I'll just quickly explain. So I have a select query that is going to give me an aggregated result. Since I'm dealing with aggregated functions, I'm going to use aggregate result class, and then I'm just using a simple loop to calculate the hotel rating. Okay, to calculate the hotel rating. And yeah, so as and when you calculate the actually when you find the hotel rating, right? So I just convert that into a decimal, and also the reviews count, I convert that into an integer, and then just have it stored in two different lists. Okay, this is list of decimal and total reviews list of integer. Okay, now let's see what we can do. So in order for us to handle multiple inputs and multiple output parameters, the first thing is we can use custom classes. Okay, I'm going to create a custom class, public class, and then let's say let's name it as input variables. Yeah, and inside which what I can do is I can just use annotation, invocable invocable variable. Okay, and I'm going to say list of IDs. Okay, I'll just say hotel IDs. So that's gonna be my my class property. Yeah, and certainly I want this property to be a public one so that I can able to use it, in other classes as well. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Okay, I have only one input parameter, so that's the reason I'm just creating hotel IDs, hotel IDs, just one property. Okay, so let's say in the output, we know that I need a list of, I want to send couple of outputs, right, to the flow. One is the average rating, uh, and then I want to send the reviews count as well, isn't it? So for that purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say list of decimal. I'll just say um, hotel average rating, and also I'll follow the same. I'll create a list of integers. Yeah. So hotel reviews. Okay. Hotel total reviews. Okay. So now, or rather, I'll just put it this way: reviews count. Yeah. So now I have two classes, isn't it? I have input variables and output variables. So this is how I can able to, create. I can able to make my Apex method to deal with multiple input parameters and multiple output parameters. What I will do now is I'll be using this hotel IDs and then send data from the flow. Okay, and then access this via input variables. Now if there is, let's say there is one more input parameter that I wanted to pass from the flow, I'll create another invocable variable right here. I'll say case ID, something like that. Okay, I'll do that. So this way I can able to use this custom class, and then through which I can able to handle multiple input parameters and also multiple output parameters. Okay, so let's see how we can use this further. Okay, so the first thing is, let me just remove this one. Yeah, yeah. The very first thing is I wanted to, I'll just remove this. Instead of list of IDs, I'll just say list of input variables. I want this to be my input, right? I'll just say input variables, and the output has to be list of the output variables. Okay, that's it. So let's further build this. So now read input values from custom class we used for managing multiple input parameters. Okay, how do I do it? So this one is actually a list, right? So what I'll do is I'll just copy this. I'll go right here, and then I want to just name this variable account IDs is equal to from the input variables list. Okay, get me the first item, and then in the first item you will find another list with the name hotel IDs. That's it. Now I have the input. I have the input. So now this is the same. I can use this account IDs in the where condition to to find the average rating and the reviews count. Yeah. So this is cool. So reading output is fine. So how do I send multiple data, multiple return multiple values back to the flow? So now what we can do is we can create an output variable, output class. Okay, and assign multiple values in it. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an object for output variables. I'll say obj output is equal to new output variables. So now what I'll do is I'll use this class dot. So in that class we have hotel average rating, which is equal to, so whatever the value that we computed, right, and also added that hotel average rating into a list, let's simply add it. Okay, so I'll say obj output dot the hotel reviews count is equal to, okay, the computed value. That's it. So this is how you just pack your output and then in the back your output, and then send the output back to the flow in the in the form of list. Okay, because we know that if you are writing an Apex method that is annotated with invocable method meant for using in a flow, right? The only data type that is supported, right, for both input and output, it's a list. Yeah. So now what I can do is I can now create a list. Okay, list of output variables. I'm gonna say output variables is equal to new list of output variables. Let me do that, and then just add output variables dot add, and we can just add this object, say object. That's it. What I can now do is I can just simply return this output variable back to the flow. Okay. All right. Let's save this. Looks like there is some error in the code. Let's cross check. Okay. So invocable variable fields do not support type of list 56. What is it? Let's go to the line of 56. Oh yeah, my mistake. It is list of ID. Okay, and this should be gone. What else? We do have a 24th line. What is the issue? Oh yes, the same problem. Perfect. This is gone now. Now I can just annotate this method as invocable method. I can just say calculate overall hotel rating and reviews. I'll save this. And certainly this will throw an error because as per the constraints we discussed, a class can have only one invocable method, isn't it? So I'll just comment the first one which we used for the earlier video. So now this is the only invocable method in this class, right? I'll just save this one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to the flow. Okay, let me enhance this. Okay, let me just create a new one. Okay, so I'll go to flow, new flow. Let's create a new one, screen flow, and I'm gonna first call that apex action. Okay, I'll use the action interaction element and then look for the method overall hotel ratings and reviews. Click here. So what I want to do is I'll just say get rating and reviews. Okay, so that's the name, and reviews. So I want to pass the current accounts record ID, isn't it? And this hotel ID, if you just could recollect, this is exactly matching with the variable name that we defined here. If you just take a look at this one, right? Because I annotated this variable, this class weight, class property, as at the rate invocable variable. That's the reason I'm just seeing this value, hotel IDs. Perfect. I'll just say include, and I want this to take value. Let me create a new resource. I'll create a variable. I'll just say v underscore account hotel account ID, hotel account ID, and this is of type text. And I want this to receive value. I want this to be exposed as an input so that my flow can send the record ID, the current record pages ID. Yeah. So let's say done. So let's click here. I should see this one. Did it not save this? So cancel. It's there. Let me try this again. Action, and let's search for overall. Done. Let's say get rating and reviews. Okay. Say hotel ID. Then I can just. Oh yeah. So now, why don't I see that? Why don't I see this? See that value, correct? Or see that variable. The reason is just take a look at the data type. So the data type of hotel IDs is, list of IDs, correct? But what I have on this variable, right, that I created, it's not a collection. It's just simply, a variable of type text. It's not going to hold multiple values, so it's not a collection. So that is the reason, because of data type difference, I'm not able to see that value. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is, I'll click, I'll go back. I'm going to create a new resource. Okay. I'll create a variable and I'm going to say a collection C underscore um, account IDs. hotel account IDs, I'll just say. And I'm gonna mark this data type as text and say hello multiple values. That's it. That's it. I'll say done. And then the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an assignment operator. I'll just say um, add record hotel account record ID to collection. Okay, that's the first thing that I'm gonna do it. What I'll do is I'll just choose the collection variable, and inside that collection I'm going to add. So what is the value that I'm going to add into this collection? The hotel account ID value that I receive from the page, from the record page, That's it. Now I click on done. Perfect. Now let me just, go back and then create the action again. So we are trying to create, we are to call, yeah, an Apex method, get rating and reviews. Then I'll just include this input parameter. Now I can just see the collection variable because the data type is matching. Previously it was not matching, right? So done. That's all it is. Okay. Let's click on done. So now what happens is whatever the output values, right? Output parameters that are returned by the Apex method, automatically it gets stored in the action. Okay. So let's see how we can able to access this. I click on screen and I'm gonna choose a text, display text, drag and then drop, and I'm gonna say ratings and reviews. Yeah, so I will say rating, and then I wanted to see total reviews as well. Total reviews, overall rating. This is a two. Yeah, I want to show what the rating and the total reviews, right? So now when I click on insert resource, look at the actions. Yeah. So this is the one that we just created, right? Click on it and you will just see two output variables, right? Hotel average rating and hotel reviews. And you can just see this is exactly matching with the variables or properties rather, right? We just used in our Apex method because I just annotated this with annotation invocable variable. That's the reason you see this exact hotel average rating. This one, hotel average rating and hotel reviews count. You can just see this, right? Yeah. So let me use that one. Click average rating and then again from the output of the Apex, choose the hotel reviews count. That's it. We are done. Let's click on done. Before we do that, let's hide the footer. Okay. And let's give a name to the screen. Okay. So we'll just say this is my output. This is my hotel performance, hotel stats. Okay. Hotel performance stats. Okay. We can just say done. That's it. So let's click on save and then let's give a name to the bar flow. I'll say this is my hotel performance stats. Yeah, let's click on save and then activate and then try to use this on the home on the record page. Let's go back here and let's refresh. Let's try to edit this. I'll remove the existing flow component and then just replace with this new one. Okay, I'll go to the search and then look for the flow standard component, drag and then drop. And on the right, I can able to configure the flow. So the flow that we just created is the name as the name hotel performance stats. This is the one, yeah. And most importantly, we do have a variable flow variable which is exposed right as an input, isn't it? I'll just say pass the record ID into this variable. That's it. Now we'll click on save and then go back, see the output. There it is. Now we can just see both overall rating and the total reviews. We can further, apply some, further do some aesthetics changes so that we can show this, both the data points, right, in a nice way on the screen, right? But the important or the key takeaway is now we did know what we did. Well, we do know that it is possible to handle multiple input parameters and multiple output parameters. Directly, it is not possible, but if you use a custom data type, right? If you use a custom class and if you just create properties in the custom class and then annotate that properties, right, with invocable variable. This way, you can able to expose multiple input parameters for your flow to send data to the flow. And also the same thing, your Apex method can send multiple output data points to your flow through this custom data type or custom class, isn't it? So that's how we can able to handle multiple input parameters and multiple output parameters and also make your flow call an Apex method. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much.